Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. I was coming from town in a public service vehicle. It was about 6 in the evening, and I live in Nairobi on Gong Road. And guys, I had to take a vehicle called City Hopper. It was then, not now. And guys, we used to queue for these vehicles, sometimes run to enter these vehicles when they are available, when they come at the bus stop after work, because of the population at 5 o'clock. So guys, this particular day I managed to hike a vehicle called City Hopper, and I took a seat that is just behind the driver. Okay. There was traffic jam, but we managed. We drove out of town. We took Valley Road. And on Valley Road, guys, while on Valley Road at a jam, let me tell you the seat that I was in. You know, there's a seat that is just behind the driver. Just behind the driver. So it's a whole long bus, but you're seated on a seat that is just behind the driver. That takes 3 people. You see? So guys, there I am seated. But I have a very funny feeling. On Valley Road, I realized, you know, the seat that is just near the door, next to the door, I realized that the conductor was a lady, and I realized that there was a man who was behaving funny. I don't know how to describe how he was behaving, because you see, why I noticed him is because you know, the door is just next to the, almost directly opposite the seat that follows the driver's seat. So the way you would turn your head and you get to notice somebody, I noticed a man who was behaving funny and had something in the, you know, the pockets of men, the way they bulge when you put something in. I realized there was something that was bulging in the pocket. I took it easy. We continued. There was traffic. There was traffic jam, and then we went up. Those people who know Nairobi, I'm feeling like scratching myself here. Those people who know Nairobi, guys, you know, once you come up Valley Road, you'll then proceed, and you are heading to Gong Road. You'll proceed towards the mortuary roundabout. So between the Silver Springs roundabout, that is the Nairobi Hospital roundabout, and the mortuary roundabout, there was a kind of a traffic there, and we were like held in a traffic jam. So you know, when you sit behind the driver's seat, there's the whole long bus behind you, so many people behind you, and you are not even you know, you are a passenger. All you need is to get home, so you don't notice much movement, much here, you don't notice much. So guys, here I am seated on the seat behind the drivers, and the next thing I hear as we approach the mortuary roundabout near Daystar University, the next thing I hear is, "Shut up and drop everything in this bag." And the minute I turned like this, I saw men, guys. I saw men, like 7 men. You know, now I had to look and check behind me. It was a big bus. I think it is a 60 capacity bus. I'm not very sure. I saw, you know, all the passengers are supposed to be seated. I saw men germinate from the seats like this. 7 of them. I think 7 or 8 or whatever number. And they said they were all holding guns up like this. and saying, shut up and don't you try to scream or talk. And they were having sex. And I was in a state of shock. Not myself alone. Everybody in that bus must have been in a state of shock, guys. So, guys, what happens to you when something like this happens? They were hijackers. We had been hijacked. And there's nothing we could do about it. You could not even touch the window pane, trying to even open the window. My neighbor tried to remove, the person who was seated next to me, tried to unzip her handbag. I think she just wanted to remove the phone. And she was hit with the gun, whatever, button. And guys, let me tell you something. That was the worst of all. The guy who is driving, the driver, one of the hijackers came straight to him and hit his head here with a gun button. And the blood jumped up. And I'm just seeing, because I'm just behind him. And this is the guy who's supposed to be driving us. And he was ordered to take a different direction towards Bagathi Road. He was ordered to take Bagathi. And remember, guys, we were supposed to just take a roundabout and we go up Gong Hills. So he was ordered to drive towards Bagathi. Guys, let me tell you, it is the most shocking experience have ever had in my life. The driver tried to fumble something and he was hit a second time and he was told, you either obey or I finish you. And here I am just behind him. So the other guys were on our case now. With their sacks, they were coming, picking our bags. They were telling us to drop them in that bag. You know, in those, we call them gunias, sacks. We were not even allowed to unzip our handbags to even remove anything. You were told if you try to hide a phone and it rings, and I get to know that one of the hijackers announced that, I get to know that you had hidden that phone, I'm just going to shoot you. Can you imagine, guys? You are in a situation where you can lose your life any second. Because let me tell you guys, there are people with 2 or 3 phones, and you can, in a situation like this, you can okay, give the handbag that you are having, and maybe with some phone inside, and maybe another phone was in the pocket. So you can choose, let me be still, and maybe I'll be at least be left with this one in the pocket. Let me tell you, if it happened to ring, these guys would have finished somebody. And here we are seated. So I'm hearing cries in the back, not screams, cries, them hitting people there. What are you trying to do? Did you try to remove that phone? Drop it here quickly, or I blow your head. Guys, so you are here, you are hit with a gun, whatever, and maybe you are trying to remove something from your handbag, or some keys, or some phone, or something, and you are hit. And guys, let me tell you, women cried, and I could hear, but you know, you are not even able to turn because you don't. By the way, at such a time, don't you ever try to look at these gangsters on the face, because the minute he notices that you have noticed him, he'll finish you. He'll finish you because he'll have known that you have seen how he looks like. And maybe you can describe him somewhere in case they are paraded, because I'll tell the story how we ended up in the police station. Guys, so even when you hear cries and you hear people being hit, instead of even turning back, we were holding ourselves like this and just looking down. The eye is the only thing that was turning from the side to side, and at times even crying to even closing your eyes to even say a prayer. Guys, it is such an experience, an awful experience, that I would not wish my worst enemy to undergo. Guys, let me tell you the truth. This is a true story, by the way. It is a true story. It happened to me. It is not just a storytelling thing. It happened to me. So our bags were picked. Women cried. There were many men in that vehicle, but you know, it's very hard for a man to cry, but at least he'll produce some sound like, ah! So you could hear those sounds in the buses, and now the driver here was maneuvering towards a direction that you don't know. Okay, I knew Bagathi Road, but I don't know where they were taking us. Not I, everybody in the vehicle did not know where we were being taken, guys. So we sat there. Our handbags were taken, and you know, the way you put everything in your handbag, the phone, the keys, everything. There are some guys who tried to drop their phones underneath the seats. You know that it is not very possible for them to also come and check beneath you, because they're also buying. They're against time. They're running against time to commit this crime. So there are some guys who dropped their phones underneath the seats, and those are the guys. At the end of the story, I'll tell you, those are the guys that ended up saving us, because their phones are the ones that we used to call our people. So guys, we have taken Bagathi Road. And guys, it happened that there was no much traffic on Bagathi Road. Just after the roundabout, there was no much traffic. So, we are being taken to a destination that we don't know. Our handbags have been taken. We are just the way you'd stand up like this with nothing in your pocket. And guys, we were driven down there towards Bagathi. Just before, those guys who know Nairobi know what I'm talking about and where we are now. Just before the Montezuma, just before we start dropping towards the Montezuma area, there is that army, what do you call it? Is it an army place? It's an army institution, Kenya Army. Is it a memorial what? Kenya Army something on Bagathi Road. Forces, praise. Guys, that time, the roads were not demarcated the way they are. I recently took a drive on that road, and the roads are double. Today they are double carriageway roads. At that time it was okay. It was like a one way, and you know what I mean. When the road is just one way, not one way, but it shares the two roads. One, how do you describe the vehicles were sharing one road, but there are those that are going towards this direction and the others going towards that other direction. I don't know how to describe that. So guys, here we are. The driver at one point, that time they have already hit the driver again and again, and they have already now managed to take bags and sacks and sacks of our handbags in their custody. And they ordered the driver to you know, there's that steepness, a very steep, a very deep trench by the sides of the two roads. Those people who know where Montezuma is. And that time there were big trenches and like a bush, a very bushy area. Not a forest, but a bushy, very deep bushy shrubs on that in that area. So they ordered the driver to drop the bus at Agusha Basi. That means drop that bus. And the driver had to drop into that trench. And I was wondering, they are also in this bus. If we are dropped in that trench, they are also going to die as we die. Why are they asking the driver? And one of them was trying to pull the steering, forcing the driver to drive towards the ditch. Guys, horrors. I've never been so shaken in my life. And it happened that men are men. The driver, this time, I think he said, even if I die, I will die. But I will not kill everybody in this bus because of you guys. So he held the steering. He managed to hold the steering, and the two guys that were forcing him to drop the bus in the trench, I don't know what they wanted. The driver tried kind of managed to turn towards the forces gate, the Memorial Forces gate. And the guys started jumping out of the vehicles as it was crossing over the road to go towards that gate, and running towards the bush. in the other direction, in the opposite direction. So within a very short time, they all ran out, and the driver managed to put us inside the process gate as the last one was jumping out. So we were driven in. In fact, when the guys at the gate, the armed guys at the gate saw the bus, they knew there was something happening because of the way the bus came towards that. And you know, institutions, government institutions are like the army, the police, those are feared areas. I think the ones at the gate, they noticed that if you see this bus coming, crossing over these roads, there must be something bad happening in the bus. So he opened the gate and we were taken in. That was at about now 7 in the evening. You remember we had left town at about 6, there's traffic. And guys, we are here crying, and others have been hit and injured. Some men behind us in the bus were injured. And here we are now. We have been, at least we are in a safe place, but we have lost everything. So guys, that is now where people started jumping out of the bus, and now the police, the uniformed staff came asking what has happened, and we could narrate what happened. We could hear this, and me, I managed to drop my second phone down there. In fact, here it is. And we were like, please help me call my relative. You have at least you have a phone. Help me call my relative. And guys, those few people who had money, in some way, God helps. That even if they are lax, they'll not manage to take each and every person's phones. But for handbags, I'm telling you, every lady who had a handbag, there is no lady that left that bus with a handbag. All our handbags were taken. So we called our people. Those people helped us to call our people, and later, and our people were, you can imagine those days, when hijackings were very rampant. So our people were like, oh, we are sorry, let's meet at Kilimani police station. So that's where we headed now from here. And we went to Kilimani to report, to write statements, and statements we did write. But guys, in fact, that is the day I lost my Kenyan passport. What was I say? My Kenyan passport. It happened to have been in that handbag. And guys, don't you ever carry your documents? I used to be that person who was packing things in my handbag. I lost the ID, I lost the passport, I lost some certificates, and some business documents that I had carried. And guys, I'm that person who carries a big handbag. To this day, I've tried to stop that habit, and I'm unable to. But I learned a lesson that day. At least for the next few days, I did with only my handbag, the keys, and maybe a purse for money. But those days, I used to carry things, and they all went. So we wrote statements in Kilimani. Those that were injured were taken to hospital. The driver was badly injured. They were taken care of in that memo. There is a hospital in that place that I'm trying to describe, the army place, Bagathi, on Bagathi Road. There's a hospital there. They were taken there, and then we dispersed to be taken. Another bus was called, and we were taken to Kilimani police station. Guys, we do not even have fare for those that were going far. You know, this is a number 4 that goes to a place called, is it Setright or Kawangware? I think it's Setright. So there are some people that were still going far. At least I was nearing where I lived on Gong Road, but there were people that were going far. But anyway, however near your place would have been, you still would have needed some money to be able to jump into another matatu and get home. But fortunately, they brought in a bus that dropped us to the police stations and waited for us as we wrote statements to drop us to our destinations. Now, the worst thing was when I got to the house after we were dropped, my body is shaking. Have you ever undergone an incident that makes you shake even in the stomach? I was feeling very cold. very cold, and I was shaking with a lot of fear. And here I am, guys. It happened that I was alone that particular time in the house. There was nobody else. My keys were in the handbag. So I get home and I don't even have the keys to open the door. I don't have a handbag. I don't have a coin. I have no money. I have nothing. I don't have the keys. This is at night. By the time we were getting home, it was about midnight. Excuse me. This is because we took some time writing the statements, and we were many. So we were being dropped home at about midnight. Thank God where I live, the security guys assisted me to break the lock to my door. And guys, let me tell you, that is a horror story that happened to me. It is not just a story from nowhere. It is a true life story. And we were lucky that we were not molested or sexually, because there were some people that were being... Hijackings were very rampant then. And there were some people that were being driven to places where they could go and get undressed, and they go through horrors. But thank God, they just took our properties, our handbags, our monies, and they left us safe. So guys, that is what happened to me. Has it ever happened to you? Have you ever heard of somebody who has gone through such a horror incident? Guys, it was horrible. It was horrible. It was very horrible. It was very bad. But we thank God. I thank God that I'm here today to tell this story. I don't know what happened to the driver. He's the only person that I saw that was very, very badly injured. See you in the next one, guys. Bye.